A more sophisticated way to organize objects in SketchUp is to use layers. Now, layers allow you to name the layers and allow you to turn parts of the scene on and off. Now, we can get to layers by going into Window, Layers. Now, in this scene, I have some layers set up. So let me just show you how they work. We always have a default layer here, and that will contain anything that's not in the other layers. So by default, we always have layer 0. Now these layers are layers that I've created. So we have a layer for the plants. I can turn those on or off simply by clicking on this checkbox. We have a layer for the fence and one for the house. Now if I click a layer that is actually active, it will prompt me. You can't hide the current layer. The current layer is basically the one that has the radio button checked. So this is the current layer, this is the current layer. And the current layer is basically the layer into which we draw. So if I select layer 0 as the current layer, I can turn off everything. And again, I can just turn those back on if I want. Now, if we want to create our own layers, we can do that. All we have to do is hit the plus or minus signs. The plus allows me to create a layer. So let's say I wanted to add a new layer here, and let's just call this sidewalk. And into that, we can actually draw a sidewalk. So if I want to draw something in this layer, I have to make sure it's active by clicking on that button there. And let's go ahead and just draw a very simple sidewalk in front of this building. So I'm just going to use the rectangle tool and snap and draw something that resembles a sidewalk here. And maybe even just pull that up just slightly to give it some volume. So now I have a basic sidewalk in front of the building, and if I deselect that layer, I can hide it. So now I've added a layer and drawn into that. Now if you want to move things between layers, you can just delete the layer. And if I delete this layer here, it will prompt me. It'll say, what do I want to do with the stuff that's in this layer? Do you want to move it to the default layer? Or do you want to move it to the current layer? Now if I was selecting any other layer, it would move it to that. Or I can delete the contents. Well, I'm just going to let it go back to the default layer. And so now my sidewalk layer has disappeared, but my layer 0 is now there. And you can see that when I hide that layer, the sidewalk is there. So layers is a great way to organize complex scenes. I hope you can find ways to use it.